Summer of 2021. Fires, floods, hurricanes, and abnormal heat waves. What is happening to the planet? You are used to hearing that global warming on the planet is due to human activity. The truth is, the problem is much more global than that, and it is rapidly gaining momentum, and there is nothing we can do to control it. The reasons for what is happening are within the planet, which has entered a period of global cataclysms. Nucleus. In 1998, a drastic shift of the planet's core was recorded. After that, the GRACE satellites and instruments on the Earth's surface detected an abnormal expansion of the planet at the equator, as well as heating from the inside. Because of the displacement of the core, it is unbalanced. With its vibrations, it creates shock waves, which are manifested on the surface of the planet by increased earthquakes and cracks on the Earth's surface. Through these cracks, a large volume of water escapes into the bowels of the planet. Molten magma rushes to the surface and heats this water. The water evaporates and escapes into the atmosphere. These enormous masses of water fall down in the form of sudden torrential rains. As the planet expanded, new continental rifts began to form. The number of volcanic eruptions increased. Significant tsunamis, including catastrophic ones, tornadoes, tropical storms, and hurricanes became more frequent. Floods and wildfires have become part of the daily news. Since 2015, the situation has become even worse. And today, the deformation of the planet continues to escalate enormously. Earthquakes. Earthquakes with magnitudes greater than 8.5 have increased dramatically over the past 20 years. Since 2003, synchronization of seismic noise began, which means that the Earth is preparing for a mega earthquake. According to scientists, it will occur in the Japanese archipelago and will have a magnitude of more than 10. Which is 32 times stronger than the 2011 Tohoku earthquake of magnitude 9. Entire countries could disappear from the face of the earth at any moment. Volcanoes. Since the beginning of the 20th century, the number of powerful volcanic eruptions has doubled as a result of growing internal energy of the planet. There has also been a steady increase in the strength of eruptions and the amount of ash and lava that has been released. Today, about 600 million people live near active volcanoes, capable of destroying entire cities at any moment. And every day, the probability of these events is only increasing. Glaciers. Greenland and Antarctic glaciers are losing 3 times more mass than 30 years ago. We are told that global warming is the cause. We are not told that the glaciers are melting from the bottom up because of the intense release of heat from the Earth's interior. For example, Antarctica is only melting on the west side, where there is a huge magma chamber. Greenland's glaciers are shrinking for a similar reason. Obviously, man has no influence on what is happening. World ocean. In 2019, the temperature of the world's oceans rose 0.075 degrees Celsius above average. This may not seem much, but in fact, the numbers are catastrophic. The energy for such heating is equivalent to the explosion of 3.5 billion atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima. And this energy came from the very bowels of the Earth. Melting of the sea ice and expansion of the warming water has caused the sea level to rise by almost 15 centimeters in the last 30 years. And this is just the beginning. There has also been an increase in the number and power of storms, as well as a significant acceleration of currents. Hurricanes, tornadoes. The year of 2020 broke all records for the frequency of hurricanes and tropical cyclones on the planet for all time. Because of increasing humidity and rising temperatures, the intensity and number of tornadoes has increased. They have become more frequent, where they used to be rare. Since the 1950s, the number of tornadoes in Europe has increased tenfold and continues to grow.
It's freaking destroyed, Josie!
Temperature anomalies and records. According to the data prepared for the IPCC report on climate change, over the past 140 years, the average temperature on the planet has risen by 1 degree Celsius and by 3 degrees Celsius in the Arctic. And we can already see the catastrophic consequences right outside the window. The period since 2000 has accounted for 19 of the 20 hottest years on the planet in the history of meteorological observations. Despite global warming, cold records are growing. For example, in February 2021, in Texas, USA, there were more than 2,500 record low temperatures. And this has never happened before in the history of observation. Since 2000, more than 5 million people have died from extreme temperatures, with 4.5 million dying from the cold. Also, temperature extremes of up to 40 degrees have begun to occur with increasing frequency. Even machinery, not to mention humans, cannot withstand such surges in a short period of time. Snowfalls. Abnormal snowfalls pile up many meters of snow in just hours, literally burying cities and towns. They appear suddenly in uncommon places, such as rainforest and arid deserts. Hail. Hail has also become abnormal. Because of the temperature rise, hailstones become huge and spiky. A diameter of 2.5 centimeters is already considered large, but nowadays, during storms, chunks of ice the size of a baseball or larger fall from the sky onto people. Such pieces of ice can fall at a speed of up to 160 kilometers per hour. Hail destroys crops, damages infrastructure, and poses a direct threat to human life. Floods. Floods are one of the most common natural disasters that are also growing in strength. 60 years ago, only 8 major floods were recorded per year. However, in 2020, this number increased by 25 times and totaled 201 cases. Moreover, they began to occur synchronously, affecting several countries at once. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, the number of floods in the U.S. has increased by approximately 100% over the past 30 years. Between 1998 and 2017, floods affected more than 2 billion people worldwide.
There's so many people dead.
Lightnings. Due to the escaping of gases from the planet's interior and the rise in temperature, thunderstorms are now becoming an increasingly common cause of many wildfires. Under these conditions, lightning becomes an igniting spark. Lightnings have become more frequent beyond the Arctic Circle and even approach the North Pole. Over the last 10 years, the number of lightnings occurring above 65 degrees of northern latitude increased sevenfold. Recently, there has been an increase in rare dry thunderstorms, as well as deadly thunderstorm supercells, landslides, and mudslides. The frequency and severity of landslides and mudslides increases rapidly each year. Massive amounts of water erode the rock, resulting in millions of cubic meters of soil and rock rushing down the slopes, sweeping away everything in their way and causing the deaths of people. Today, the number of casualties caused by them continues to grow. In Japan alone, the number of these disasters has increased by almost 50% in the last 10 years. And more areas are beginning to be affected by this phenomenon. Sinkholes. The amount and scale of newly formed sinkholes is shocking. In Turkey alone, over 600 sinkholes formed in the Konya Plain in 2001. In late May, farmers in Mexico witnessed a field that collapsed and formed a huge hole the size of a multi-story building. Meanwhile, in Croatia, more than 100 new sinkholes were discovered, and they continue to appear all over the world. Cracks and faults. The earth is deforming greatly, getting covered with cracks and faults. Earlier, they corresponded to the places of tectonic stress, but now they appear in the most atypical places. Drying of rivers and depletion of groundwaters. Abnormal expanding of the planet along the equator leads to drying out of water bodies, lowering of groundwater levels, formation of sinkholes and reservoirs, and, as a result, reduction of freshwater reserves. For example, over the past 20 years, more than half of the rivers in China have completely dried up. WHO reports that water scarcity already affects 40% of the world's population. Drought and desertification are becoming increasingly frequent causes of hunger, poverty, dangerous infections, mass migration, and armed conflicts. Between 1998 and 2017, this extremely dangerous development, which already affects 1/3 of the Earth's surface, affected 1.5 billion people. Fires. Fires have reached a new level. Fires occur in areas of the Earth's crust where hydrogen, methane, and other combustible gases are released from the subsurface. Because of this, fires cannot be extinguished. They are expanding their geography. Even the Arctic is already on fire, where, according to the World Meteorological Organization, WMO, 2019 saw the largest and most destructive fires in the Northern Hemisphere over the past 10,000 years. Magnetic field. The rate of the North Magnetic Pole drift has increased sixfold. According to scientists, this is also a result of the most powerful energy emission from the planet's core. Over the last 200 years, the magnetic field has lost about 9% of the force and continues to weaken at an accelerated rate. Between Africa and South America, there has formed a gap in the magnetic field with an area of about 8 million square kilometers, and it is continually growing. Weakening of the magnetic field threatens not only to cause malfunctions in many technical devices, but it will also deprive us of our protection from the deadly cosmic radiation. Ozone holes and cosmic rays. The ozone protective filter of our planet is becoming thinner and thinner, despite the fact that 30 years ago, under the Montreal Protocol, nearly all CFCs allegedly destroying the ozone layer were withdrawn from production. For instance, in the ozone anomaly in the Northern Hemisphere, the ozone deficit in 2011 was 35%, but by 2020, it was already over 50%. In Antarctica, it is 70%. The reasons for its destruction are hydrogen degassing from the Earth's bowels along the faults and an increase in cosmic radiation. The disappearance of the planet's protective components, such as the magnetic field and the ozone layer, could lead to a complete disappearance of the atmosphere and of all life on the planet, similar to what happened on Mars. Synchronization. Before 2020, disasters occurred sporadically. Now there is a synchronization of cataclysms. This means that they occur simultaneously. Natural disasters resonate and become more severe, leading to greater destruction and spreading over larger territories. Today, the Earth is literally burning beneath our feet and collapsing right under us. We are already seeing millions of people who are not welcomed, forced to wander in search of food, water, and habitable land. And tomorrow, we will all be among them. Are you ready for this? Until now, humanity has been in a state of death-defying consumerist slumber. This is the only way to explain that while seeing the agony of our planet with our own eyes, we don't want to admit that this could be the end of our civilization. However, we still have a chance. One last chance.